Are short-term rental properties like Airbnbs clogging your neighborhood? Some claim they're hurtful to Lexington, but others say they benefit tourism.
This month's Lexington Forum tackled the issue. WKYT's Lucy Bryson highlights one area getting pushback from the crowd.
At this month's Lexington Forum, local leaders discuss whether short-term rentals are more helpful or more harmful to the community.
The neighbors were concerned about the parties that were taking place in their neighborhoods with these short-term rentals. The neighbors didn't feel like it was the same community that they moved into.
I can tell you that there are a lot of weekends where we are at full capacity in our hotels, and the short-term rentals that we have in the city allow for us to keep the business inside of Fayette County.
The Herald Leader reports that one street alone in the Kenwick neighborhood is home to 12 short-term rentals. Neighbors have complained about the congestion. One form of regulations the panel believes could help is a permit system.
There's a filing fee of $250. The second step, though, of that is to get your license with the Division of Revenue. And when you initially get your first license, it's $200. And then there's an annual renewal of $100.
During the Q&A portion following, Danielle Gerbrocht challenged this explanation.
They said that anybody who has a rental has to petition for that rental. Someone's going to review that data. That involves salaries and employees. So my question was, did they consider the actual cost of implementing all of this new regulation?
Councilman James Brown says they're just speaking for the neighbors who were adamant about change.
It can be an intense commercial use in a residential neighborhood, so we just have to do everything that we can to protect the initial intentional use of those areas.
In Lexington, I'm Lucy Bryson, WKYT.
The Lexington Forum meets on the first Thursday of each month. Next month, they'll discuss artificial intelligence.